I have spent 45 years yo-yo dieting. 45 years. Up until 2024, when I finally figured it out. And I believed some really dumb stuff along the way. Not because I'm dumb, but because the food industry has manipulated us and lied to us. And honestly, I just believed plain old desperation, some things that I believed were true because I wanted them to be, but they weren't. Today, I'm going to walk you through the five myths about food and losing weight. Now, I do have my notes because a lot of these talking head videos, I don't make all the points I want to. And today I am going to refer to my notes to make sure I tell you guys everything I want to. These five things are what kept me stuck. They kept me heavy. They kept me fat. They kept me starting over Mondays over and over again for decades. If this one hits you, drop a comment because I believed it and somebody else believes it too. Myth number one, fat makes you fat. I'm going to tell you two stories that go along with this one. I had some friends that came and they were both normal body weight, and I would watch them barbecue at our house. They'd bring their camper van and they'd cook with like whole fat sour cream butter, like steaks, like the most delicious food, and they were a normal body weight. And like I remember him saying to me, like, I'm gonna make potatoes or corn on the cob or something with real butter, and I'm like, oh no, don't put any on mine. Like I want best shell light margarine. Like literally I was eating plastic and starving and yo-yo dieting and not figuring out why I was always hungry. It was because I was eating plastic for dinner. And I mean years that went on. I thought butter was bad, whole fat, anything was bad. I wouldn't touch whole fat if my life depended on it. And you know what that got me? It got me hungry all the time and still fighting the weight continuously. So here's what I learned the hard way. Real fat doesn't make you fat. Fake food makes you fat. The processed food, the carbohydrates with all the sugars keep us fat. The processed junk. I remember years and years ago, somebody said, like, you should only be shopping in the outside aisles at the grocery store. And I thought, what? But that's true. That's where the whole food lives. Anything on the inside aisles, outside of like tomato paste, that's probably a processed, disaster waiting to happen. At least that's what kept me trapped. The heavy whipping cream actually is like my new best friend. And I'm not scared of cream anymore. What I've learned in this journey, though, is that I was skipping meals and I was having like Starbucks with like the double fat, no vanilla syrup with extra whipping cream. That's not a meal replacement. The fat I'm talking about is the whole food fat, single ingredients, so things that our grandmother would recognize. So let me ask you, what real food are you still afraid of? And what have you been told that is a bad food that your great-grandmother would think, that's dinner? Myth number two, keto on the label means it's real food. Okay, this one, literally over the last 2 years of me coming out of my last cycle of this yo-yo, this one took me a long time to figure out. When I started keto back in 2018, I thought that if it said keto, it meant I was being good. The keto cookies, keto bars, keto bread, keto ice cream, most of that is processed junk. I trusted them. I thought, well, it's low carb and they can't lie to us. It's on my plan, so it's fine. No. Here's what I didn't understand. That was still processed food. They take out the sugar, they put in some other kind of sweeteners, and they slap keto on the front, and suddenly we think we're being good and eating clean. We're not. I just went through this with eating too much dairy. So I'm still, like I said, learning and evolving. I'm not trying to kid myself anymore. If I want a dessert, like a pudding, I try to make it carnivore with real food, eggs, cream, cacao powder, allulose. I make a real chocolate the same way. I make a cream cheese, the most delicious, and I've just perfected the carnivore crust. I can't wait to do that video for you on my, cheesecake. Like, Karen, come on. So that's myth number 2, is that most of the keto food that you see in the grocery store is crap, is junk, is going to keep us. So are you eating keto food currently? Are you eating real food? Because your body knows the difference, and even if they put a fake label on it. So drop a comment and let me know that. Number 3, this is what started all of this back of the last time I've yo-yo dieted, back in 2024. If you guys have watched that video, I've talked about it numerous times, the oatmeal. So I went and looked at the date on that oatmeal video. Myth number 3 is oatmeal is always a healthy food. March 13, 2024 is when I dropped that video. It was right before my son's wedding. He got married 3 days later. I thought that oatmeal was good. And let me tell you something. I was putting in sugar-free sweetener, psyllium husk, raisins. Raisins are loaded with sugar. I thought I was having a clean, healthy breakfast, and I couldn't figure out why I was still like heavy and gaining weight. Now, here's what most people don't know. Oatmeal is a food that they feed to cows to fatten them up before slaughter. And my body didn't care. It treated that oatmeal like it was donuts, and it spiked my blood sugar, and it kept me hungry for hours, and I started cravings over and over, and every 2 hours I needed to snack or something, because here's the truth I had to swallow. A food that can be healthy in general and still be wrong for your body, oatmeal isn't evil. Like, if you need to gain weight or you like oatmeal and you want to have it once in a while, go for it. This is a long marathon, not a sprint. And I have fallen through many trapdoors. So here's my question for you. What healthy food is keeping you stalled? Think about it. What are you eating because someone told you it's good for you, but your body is telling you something different? The light bulb moment for me was that oatmeal. But it took me 6 months later to see the pictures after the wedding to realize, like, oh my God, I'm fat again. And I don't know if you remember, but that was season 10 of Big Brother. And I went on and did a cameo for them. And they put me in this moo-moo because I felt so bad about my body. And those are hard pills to swallow. Like, you can't ever go back in time and do that again. And now they've renewed it, so maybe I'll get another opportunity. But I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired about the way I looked and felt. So myth number 4, dairy is a freebie on low carb. Now this trapdoor I just went through last week, 2 weeks ago. This one was my biggest wake-up call recently. I got sick. I had a terrible norovirus or something. I couldn't touch dairy for a week. No ice cream, no cheese, no protein shakes. And I finally stepped on the scale and I had lost 6 pounds. 6 pounds in 1 week just from cutting the dairy. I had convinced myself once again, and now I realize it was a trigger and it was a trap and it was something that I was going down a very unhealthy route. I thought that I could eat as much dairy as I wanted and I wasn't going to gain any weight. And that's not true. For me, it was an absolute stall factory until I got forced to stop eating it. And I'm not saying dairy's bad, and I'm not saying I'm ever going to quit dairy. It's just, again, I'm not counting calories, I'm not counting macros. It has to be in moderation, because that was a trigger for me to go back. Dairy is, a lot of carnivores will tell you, dairy is a trigger food for them, and it keeps people inflamed. And I just learned myself that I gotta watch it. So here's my question for you. If you are stalled, have you looked at your dairy? Not your carbs, your dairy. What's the one thing that you're willing to give up that might be holding you back? Is there a food? Are you still doing certain things? Like, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. And myth number 5. This one I have said numerous times, but I got to keep saying it because I know the Karens and the Lisas and the Beckys and the Todds and the Mikes and all of us that grew up in this diet culture, that are from the 60s and 70s, that watched these supermodels, that we thought that one bad meal ruins the week. I know you did. I did. You did. That's a myth that cost me not only time and pounds. It cost me decades. I believe that if I messed up, I was off plan, I had a slice of cake, a bad day, the whole week was ruined. So I'd say, well, I'm going to start over again on Monday. And that's why I just changed the channel name to say no more starting over Monday. And I'll eat whatever I want. I'm not going to deprive and I'm not going to starve myself. But I'm going to try to keep it low carb, keto, ketovore, carnivore. But here's what finally broke me. One meal is just one meal. It's not a week. It's not a failure, you guys. It's not a reason to burn the whole thing down. You eat the thing, you feel whatever you feel about it, and then the very next meal you just forget the pain and move on. And that's it. You cannot beat yourself up. If you want those French fries so bad one day, please have them. Please have them and know that you can have a sustainable, realistic life and a good relationship with food. The 5 myths, the 5 things I believed for years that kept me stuck, those are them. And if you're counting, that's decades of my life spent believing things that simply weren't true. I'm 62 years old and I'm still learning every day. But I'd rather learn slow and keep going than restart fast and keep failing. If any of this hits you, tell me which one. And if you're new here, I'm Karen, and I've got a whole playlist to get you started. But the number one thing that I did 2 years ago after I saw those wedding pictures is there's a video here that says the 10 things I did, and that's how you get to low carb, to try to get the cravings under control. That's where you start. This is real food, real kitchen, real results. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for popping in.